Well, first of all, really excited to host the NCAA Austin Regional at the UT Golf Club. UT Golf Club, 15 years old, maybe 16 now. 2003 we opened. It's amazing. Everything was in place really after about 2009 when the clubhouse was built. And that's really kind of the curve of our golf program since I've been here anyway. 97 came in with a lot of enthusiasm and excitement and recruited well, and then I think I got a little bit distracted with the build of the golf course, and we trended down a little bit. Although we had great kids on our team, it was more about me at that time, I think, than it was our team, and fortunately DeLoss stuck with me, and about 2009 things started to change. Clubhouse was built, golf course was in, and we had some great recruiting from there, and kind of the rest is history in terms of the success of the program and the trajectory of our program at this point. But really excited to now host our third men's regional at the University of Texas Golf Club. Got a great staff out there, ownership, membership, everybody's very supportive of our programs, both men and women. That's been tangibly effective for both programs as well, because now you're seeing what the women are doing, and Coach Murphy on that side has done a great job and continues to, and they've got a chance to win the national championship just like us. So a lot of excitement in our program right now. We've got 3 freshmen, Cole Hammer from Houston, Parker and Pearson Cootie from Plano, Texas. 3 of the most dynamic freshmen in the country right now. Cole's top 5 or 6 in the world as an amateur, so he's been a great leader for us and really been highly effective with his game and his leadership over the last few months. It took them all a little bit of time to get their feet on the ground, and now them in combination with Stephen Cervoni, who is a senior for us, and Spencer Sussman, a junior. That makes up the balance of our team, and I know they all feel like we've got a good chance to be successful this week or this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday coming up at the regional. The way the NCAA does it, there's 6 regional sites. The number 1 seeds are the top 6 teams in the country. If you happen to be hosting, you would be a number 1 seed at your course, and that's what we are. We've got what we think is a really strong field. I love how the NCAA does it now with an S-curve. It's the fairest way to seed the teams. There's no picking. There's no there's just absolutely nothing wrong with what we're doing, because it gives everybody a fair opportunity to be successful and to move on to the NCAA championship. So 6 regionals, 13 or 14 teams at each regional. The balance made up by individuals. Essentially, there's 15 teams at each site, and there's 5 teams that advance from each site to make up 30 teams at the national championship, which will be at the Blessings. So we got work to do. I'm excited to bring our team into it. We've been preparing for this all year. Looks like Mother Nature might challenge us a little bit with the weather, but we didn't have weather or rain for 7 or 8 years a few years ago, and I think everybody praying in Austin, we've got it now. So it's kind of an exciting time for everybody, because I think this is kind of what most people remember Austin as being.
Questions? You feel like you got a target on y'all's back?
Not yet. I don't think we've earned that. When you're the number 1 team in the country, consensus, and we've been that before, that's when you got a target on your back, and you've got everybody shooting at you. I know that as the number 1 seed, these teams would love to upset us on our own golf course, whether it's Arkansas or USC or TCU. They'd love to come in here and beat the Longhorns on our own golf course.
So who's the favorite, y'all or USC?
I would say that at this point we were ranked 6th. I think USC was ranked 7th. They've had a great year. They didn't have a great conference championship, finishing a little lower than they thought they would. I thought that, to be honest with you, that we played fairly well in the conference championship. We finished third. Oklahoma State, the #1 team in the country, very strong. They won the golf tournament. TCU was second, and we tied with Oklahoma for third. The interesting thing is you had 4 teams in the top 10 in the rankings, us being either 5, 6, or 7, and Oklahoma being the same, and then Texas Tech being number 10 in the nation. So the Big 12 is really strong, and so I didn't feel like we played poorly. Normally we play 72 holes. We were up in West Virginia, and one day we got rained out, so we had to shorten our tournament from 72 holes to 54. That probably changed things a little bit, the outcome. But who knows? I have no idea what that meant, other than we finished tied for third, and we're stinging over that a little bit, and hopefully we can get it right here at UT Golf Club.
Is there a little more pressure because 5 teams advance from each regional? Is there a little more pressure because you're hosting, or is that kind of mitigated because you just got to finish in the top 5 to get to where you want to go?
Yeah, well, they're all good teams. I've said before that there's 300 Division I teams that play college golf. That's one of the bigger sports. And I think there's about 100 of them that get funded to try to win, to try to have tremendous success across the board in the United States, in their conference and then regionals and national championship. So I do feel like the challenge is there, because you know that the strength in our field is going to be a good tournament. That's one. Anytime you play at home, if you're not careful, you can put way too much pressure on yourself and make it very difficult to perform. But you have to recognize what we're playing for too, because we're trying to get to the NCAA championship. So there's several really good teams going to be in Austin. We've got an advantage in terms of knowing the golf course. Course knowledge is a big factor. But at the same time, the balance in there is that our kids don't need to assume any more pressure than the normal, and that's coaching.
You mentioned that you're dynamic freshmen. How do you sense their mindset going in? It's freshmen, expectations are big, you are at home, but it's different than playing a conference tournament or a regular tournament.
We're fortunate. We don't host our normal annual tournament anymore at UT Golf Club, and there's a variety of reasons that materialized. We for years had the Morris Williams tournament. Before that, it was the Harvey Penick in the fall, and now we don't host a tournament. But we're fortunate because all 3 of the freshmen have played junior golf tournaments at the UT Golf Club, so they've been under pressure on our golf course before. Stephen Cervoni and Spencer Sussman both played in an NCAA regional at our golf course years ago. And they also played in a one-day 36-hole event that we were able to adjust into a couple of years ago because we got rained out at Texas A&M. So I don't think that they'll do that. But again, you know, that's one of those things. I was talking to Chris Del Conte about that one of the things you have to do when you host at home is you've got to embrace the fact that you've got this local knowledge, but at the same time, you've got to also embrace the fact that you could assume a bunch more pressure. And so you need to talk about it. You need to put it out there on the table and come up with some solutions.
And what are your solutions?
To do just that, to think about it in the proper perspective, to look at this golf tournament and then take advantage of the fact that we play one of the top 5 schedules in America on an annual basis. That's my desire. My goal is to never dodge anybody, to always go to the best tournaments, always go to the best golf courses, play against the best fields, play against the best individuals, and most likely some of those have some of the better coaches. And so if you have done that, that's your body of work at the beginning of the year and then throughout the year, then hopefully when you come to a regional championship and then an NCAA championship, you're prepared.
What is it about, Cole, you mentioned the freshmen that maybe What about him reminds you of some of the other top guys that have entered the program?
Well, we've been very fortunate to have some great players at Texas. There's no question about that, and a lot of them got here way before me and left way before me, starting with Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite, Rick Massengale. The list goes on, right? And it has been it's been rocking and rolling really since the 20s and 30s of 1920, 1930, 1940, and 50 with Harvey Penick. So Cole does have some absolutes that he has that are commensurate with some of the better players that I've been able to coach here, a Bo Hostler, a Jordan Spieth, a Dylan Fratelli. They all have something special. I tell my guys all the time, if you go down the line at a PGA Tour event, at a driving range, when they're out there practicing, every one of those guys has something special. And then if you look at, there's some that have a couple things that are special. And then you have some that have 3 or 4 things that are special. And then you get to 5 and 6, and that's your major champion. And I've been very fortunate to be around a couple major champions in Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite, and then Jordan Spieth, who I got to recruit and coach. And Cole has some really unique abilities. He's a great driver of the golf ball. He's very comfortable in tense situations, and his short game can be remarkable at times. And when I say those things, that makes me think of Jordan Spieth, that makes me think of Bo Hostler, that makes me think of Tom Kite and Ben Crenshaw.
How important is this tournament to set you up, aside from punching a ticket to the national championship tournament, but how important is this regional tournament for kind of getting the mind right, working out all the kinks and all that, so that way you can go and chase that national championship?
Yeah, I like that. I think it does that. I think that one of the really cool things is that we're very close to the end of the second semester here. So we're about to be finished academically, and the guys kind of get a shot in the arm when they're done with their education for this semester, and meaning that the reality and the clarity that they get for competition becomes a little bit more clean, and because they're competitive in the classroom too, and that can make it difficult in terms of balance. But we're getting close to that point, and that will give the guys a little bit more significant clarity. And I think what we look for again is to take everything that we've learned this year, plug it in right now, and then hopefully be energized when we get up there to the blessings. But it's you hear our coaches say this all the time. It's one step at a time, and right now we have a regional in front of us, and we've got some built-in advantages.
What have you learned about Parker and Pearson after having them a year?
They're two of the most competitive kids I've ever been around. Parker and Pearson Cootie are ridiculously competitive. They're competitive with themselves as brothers, as fraternal twins, and they're just I've been around 2 other brothers that are similar in my lifetime, and that was Kurt Byram and Tom Byram. Tom's on the senior tour, and Kurt does color on the Golf Channel. But those 2 brothers were extremely competitive and very gifted as athletes, the physical aspect of the game. And Parker and Pearson are the same. So those 2 were my teammates, Kurt and Tom Byram. Now I'm getting to coach 2 guys that remind me every day about those 2 guys. And makes me feel good because both those guys had a lot of success. And I'm hoping that we can add a little bit to these guys, and hopefully they'll have tremendous success here at Texas, and then go on and have a great living on the PGA Tour.
Their skill set different?
They're similar. They both are they're both about 5'9", maybe pushing 5'10", but they both hit it a long way. Their club head speed is significant, and we're looking forward to these next few years because you can see tangibly the different things that maybe we can have an influence on that will help them kind of grow as players. Now, that's not to say that they haven't had unbelievable teaching, either from their dad, who played here at Texas, or from their grandfather who won the Masters. I mean, if I could sit down with Charlie Cootie on a daily basis, or over the summer, or just over coffee, can you imagine what you could get? And these guys get it all the time. So they have a wealth of knowledge, they have a wealth of desire, and they have a incredible competitive spirit.
And as far as having 3 freshmen like that, kind of at the top of the leaderboard, are they all kind of peaking? I know Cole didn't he finish 3rd at the Big 12?
Mm-hmm.
Was he unhappy about that?
No, he puts things in perspective, and all of them want to win.
Right.
All of them have won. Parker won the Texas State High School. Pearson won at a very high level on the AJGA Tour, and Cole has won at a very high level on the amateur circuit in the United States, and then represented the country in the World Amateur. So all of them have the ability to win at any time. And I wouldn't mind that at any time, to be quite honest with you. Sooner the better.
Does USC have a certain star, 1 or 2 stars we should look for?
They do. Justin Suh is one of the top 5 players in the world. He's outstanding. TCU just had a young man that's a senior that won the, I think it's Hayden Springer, that won the Big 12 championship. And Arkansas, that's coming in, just won the SEC championship. Now it's a little different, because they play 54 holes of medal play, and then they play match play, just similar to the NCAA. We don't do that in the Big 12. I think our system's a little bit better, but they produced Arkansas this year as their SEC champion, and they're going to be here as the 6th seed, I think.
What's Springer's game like?
I don't know a whole lot about it. I know he's long and he's strong, and he's a big guy, and he's a senior, and I'm sure he would like to go out on a high note, and you know, having the opportunity to come here, you know, that probably is one where TCU is really excited about coming to Texas and trying to knock us off. So,
Do you not host that tournament in a way for a competitive advantage? If you host in a regional, you don't want them being familiar with it?
Well, they've changed the rule now too. The NCAA has changed where if you're hosting a regional championship, you can no longer host that particular year a regular season event.
Oh, okay.
Now, that was one of the reasons, and the others were that we were having a lot of success, and a lot of teams just decided they'd prefer not to come down here and get knocked on the head.
It kind of works
So,
in your favor, though.
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Familiarity.
Yeah.
How about Scottie winning his PGA card?
I'm really excited for Scottie Scheffler. To welcome him to the PGA Tour. Now, of course, that's not going to happen until the beginning of the 2019-20 season, the wraparound season. But losing the playoff last week, but securing his card for 2020, essentially, just puts another guy out there, and it's fun. It's fun for Pearl and I, my wife, to look forward to days like tomorrow, because I think we'll have 6 or 7 guys playing in the Byron Nelson field. Actually, we may have more, because Doug and Scottie are playing, and that's an exciting time. Jordan will be there, Bo Hostler, Dylan Fratelli, Kramer Hickok. I haven't checked the rest of the field. I'm not sure if Jonathan Vegas is playing, but the bottom line is,
Is Scottie taken off? Is his game taken off?
it has, yeah. It has. There's one of the guys that, you know, we talked about academics. Scottie was always challenged. He chose to go into the business school here, the McCombs Business School. And the fact that he was an All-American golfer and getting his degree out of the McCombs Business School, which is extremely challenging on a daily basis. And nobody cuts you any slack out on the PGA Tour, and nobody cuts you any slack at the McCombs Business School, I promise you. And he would say that they're competitive over there, and they want to win as well. So, but what he has been able to do is turn his focus 100% of the time on golf now, and it's his business.
Yeah.
And we all thought that this is what might happen, and it is happening.
He improved his putting. I'm sorry.
Well, Scottie Scheffler is if Scottie Scheffler misses a 10-foot putt, it's like somebody just hit him in the face. he's just he's another one of those really competitive guys. I think he's one of the greatest putters I've ever seen, to be honest with you, but you might think he's in pain out there on the greens from time to time if he's missing a putt or two. And that's just how impressive he is in terms of his belief in who he is. I love it. I love being around these guys. It's a blessing every day, to be quite honest with you, because they are so ridiculously competitive and they are so good. And they are a lot of fun to be around.
On the subject of alums of the program, I know you got to catch up with Jordan when he was here for the match play event. Something just doesn't seem like it's there. Have you been able to kind of diagnose it or have talked to him about what he's going through? What's your thought on his recent stroke?
I think it's just life. I think that if you look back on careers, like a Tiger Woods, like a Jack Nicklaus, there's years that you would, if you look at the body of work and that's all you look at, you would never see that, what happened those 2 years? They didn't make the Ryder Cup, or they didn't lead the money list, or they had a difficult time. What was going on? I think it's just life. I think he's a great golfer. He is a great person. He just got married. Last year this time he was recovering from mono. I think that he went through a tough time kind of balancing all the opportunities that he had in front of him versus still having to play extremely good golf and taking care of his body. And I think those things culminated with the mono, and it took him a little while to get over that. And if you've ever had that, it can pop back up from time to time, and it's tough. So I think it's just life. I think he'll be back. He'll play some great golf. It won't surprise me when he wins again. I'm rooting for him to be one of just a handful of players to win the Grand Slam of golf. All he's got to do is win the PGA. All he's got to do. That's in the next couple of weeks. But and it won't surprise me when some of our other guys win out there. We've had guys win. Cody Gribble, Jonathan Vegas. I mean, it's fun to be around right now. Texas golf.
John, I know home course advantage doesn't always guarantee.
Yeah.
I think Augusta State went up to Stillwater years ago and knocked off OSU.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the UT Golf Club that really makes you feel good that these guys can take advantage of this opportunity and not have an upset, so to speak, in a tough field?
Yeah. The difficulties of Austin, Texas, San Antonio, west of I-35 is the hill country, because it keeps you so accountable on the golf course. You got to hit it fairly straight. And when you get off into the weeds and the cedar and the oak trees, you're not in good shape. You're gonna really have a tough time. So the sight lines at UT Golf Club, we think our golf course is really fair. We've done a lot of shaping over the last X number of years. But what I would say is it's a hill country golf course. And you've got to drive it well, and you've got to have your head in the game the whole time. And it's the type of golf course, similar to some that we play, like in Oklahoma State, that if it gets away from you, it can really get away from you. So that's really UT Golf Club in a nutshell.
Can Tony Romo win on the PGA?
Well, it's funny, Dylan Fratelli and Scottie are paired with him this week,
Right,
Thursday and Friday.
Right.
And that will be a memorable couple of days, because now I know that Scottie has played some golf with him before. I don't think Dylan has. He's a fun guy. He's a competitive guy. He plays a lot of golf, and he's wanting to be a great golfer, which is amazing. And I think he's one of those athletes that doesn't have no or can't do this in his brain. So it doesn't matter what I think, but I bet he thinks he can.
Kind of interesting, isn't it?
One last one.
Is there a dark horse that we should look out for this next week?
I would say USC has the wherewithal to get the job done here if we don't play our best. We're going to have to play our best no matter what happens. And that's, again, that's up to the players and that's up to the coaches. We have to all do a good job. But I think USC is outstanding. Pepperdine has a good golf team. It's interesting when they come this way, if they can adjust to the hill country. But when we got the opportunity to host, I wasn't going to turn it down.
And is there an individual we should kind of, a rising star?
That Justin Suh is outstanding. He really is. There's several guys in the field. Off the top of my head, I can't.
Yeah.
And the reason I know those guys is because they're Walker Cuppers and they're, Cole Hammer, Justin Suh. They're top 5, 6 in the world.
Yeah, and Cole's on the Palmer Cup team, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And where's that? Who do you play?
That's going to be in Arkansas at, gosh, I'm blanking on what it was.
Yeah. Is
It's
that in
not.
June or July?
It's in June. Yeah.